Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
I'm here today to sue my former friend who came over to my apartment unannounced with her dog that barged into my apartment, knocking over a very expensive vase that my grandmother gave to me.
In my courtroom, it's about equity and fairness. Did you slap him?
I did slap him.
Stop. In that scenario, who should pay for it? Justice should be more than just some foreign concept. I actually want you to learn something. You don't provoke people when they're dealing with issues involving their mental health. Now, as a parent, that's the takeaway.
Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Christina Hayes claims an expensive vase was destroyed and her laptop was damaged after her friend showed up unannounced with her large dog. Ms. Hayes is suing Layla Antal in the amount of $561. Ms. Antal is countersuing for $455.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. Ms. Hayes, you're suing Ms. Antal because your vase was damaged and you had some laptop repair issues that you want her to compensate you for. And Ms. Antal, you are countersuing for injuries sustained that your dog had to go to the hospital and get treated because of this whole situation with the vase, right? Let's start with you, Ms. Hayes. Talk to me.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm here today to sue my former friend, Layla, who came over to my apartment unannounced with her dog that barged into my apartment, knocking over a very, very expensive vase that my grandmother gave to me.
She obviously knew where you lived.
Yes, Your Honor.
Has she been at your house prior?
Not to my apartment. We always meet in the courtyard.
Okay, when you say always meet, how long were the two of you meeting in the courtyard?
We do daily walks with our dogs.
How long had you been doing that before this occurred?
About 6 months.
All right, so for 6 months on a regular basis, you have a dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your dog's name is?
Princess. Would you like to see a picture of her?
Not yet, but we'll
Okay.
take a look. I'll check out Princess, and I take it, Miss
Okay.
Antal, you have a dog.
I do.
And your dog's name is?
Coco.
Coco.
A husky shepherd.
Oh, boy, fancy.
Yeah.
And Coco and Princess seem to get along pretty well?
Yes, despite their size differences.
Why do
they
you say,
seem to
who's
bond.
bigger?
My dog, Coco.
What kind of dog do you have?
A husky shepherd.
A husky shepherd?
Yes.
And Miss Hayes, what type of dog do you have?
Princess is a Shih Tzu.
What caused you to be at her home on this occasion?
Well, once our dogs started bonding, we started bonding and building a friendship, talking about reality TV and baking. And I found out that her favorite thing to bake was blueberry scones. And so I thought, well, I'm going to bake them and bring them to her. So I knocked on her door and I offered her...
So she wasn't expecting you?
No, she was not. But then I offered to go to the courtyard. I never invited myself in or anything like that.
Okay, so, but you're saying, I'm going to do something nice. I'm going to surprise her. She
Something
likes
neighborly.
blueberry scones.
Yeah.
So I'll make some scones. I'll bring them to her. She'll be surprised.
Homemade.
The dogs will play, and it'll be this great situation that plays out.
Yes.
Didn't quite work out that way. What happened?
Well, because right after she brought the scones, she said, let's go to the courtyard. And so I said, okay, let me go grab my things and grab Princess. So I walked over to my kitchen and I put her on her leash. I grabbed a bag and I grabbed some dog treats to take to the courtyard for the dogs. And so when I was putting them in my bag, the dog treats kind of made Coco go a little Coco. She came barging into my apartment.
So Coco, fair to say, she went a little bananas over these treats?
Christina said, let me get my stuff. She grabbed the treats and she actually was egging my dog on, saying, come here, Coco, come here, sweet Coco. You know, any well-trained dog is going to hear their name and see a treat. And whenever you're saying, come here, they're going to go. And I'm trying to hold everything.
How long have you had Coco?
For about 4 years now.
So you're used to Coco being sometimes a little playful,
Yes,
a little
and
aggressive.
I bake her treats personally, so I know the smell of the treats.
So it's not like
Just
she
make her
doesn't have the opportunity to grab a treat now and then.
run. Yes, Your Honor, she
All right,
gets lots
so
of
this isn't her
treats.
first rodeo of treats,
No.
right? All right. Why was it that you weren't able to control Coco inside the house?
I was not inside the house. Coco was outside, and I was at the door. And
at some point, does Coco find her way inside the house while you're outside the house?
She was egging her on. Coco ran in after the treats.
You did not maintain control of the leash, otherwise she wouldn't have been able to run in.
I was trying, Your Honor, but she kept egging a dog on.
No one's saying you weren't trying.
Coco ran in, and the tail knocked over her vase and got some water everywhere. And then my poor baby backed up on the glass and cut her foot. That's when I dropped the scones, and I heard howling, and I ran and I grabbed her, ran to my apartment, got my keys, took her to the vet.
Coming up on America's Court.
I asked you if you'll pay for the damages, and you refused.
All I wanted was a friend. I thought, you know, if we came to court and we had to do all of this, I would lose you as a friend and a neighbor.
And later.
And your position is she stole your husband, she should pay you $10,000.
Well, I found out actually from a picture on Instagram. I posted it believing he was single. I had nothing to hide.
Closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. America's Court is back with the case of Christina Hayes, who is suing Layla Antal for property damage.
I can't get past the fact that Coco is your dog.
Mm-hmm.
Owners are responsible to keep their dogs on a leash.
Mm-hmm.
You lost control of the situation. This is not a dog that you've only had for a month or two. You've had Coco for 4 years.
That's correct.
So the onus really becomes on you to ensure that if you can't control her in certain situations, either you need to not bring her in certain situations, or you need a different type of leash or something else, or you don't carry scones and a leash at the same time because you know that Coco can be a little rambunctious.
Coco is also so used to Christina because we bonded for so much over the past
That actually hurts you. Had you ever lost control before?
No, Your Honor.
So then you have been in a situation where you're used to Coco being a little assertive, but you've been able to maintain the control as the owner.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason on this occasion you were not.
I just feel like she was egging him on, saying, "Come here, Coco." And if someone's saying, "Come here," I'm not going to hold her back too much when I
Did she
assume
do
she's inviting
anything
her
different
in.
than what she would otherwise do in the period of time? Because you say that you all have been friends for 6 months.
No, I mean, Coco's
So
been a
Coco
great
has
dog.
known Miss Hayes for 6 months.
Yes, and especially when you're telling the dog, "Come here," I assume you're inviting
Has
Coco
she ever
into your
done that
home.
before?
No, sir, this is the first time I've ever been.
In the sixth, no, I'm saying, has she ever said, "Coco, here's a treat, here's a treat"?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it's been 6 months.
So
We
then there's
gave her
nothing
treats.
unusual about this particular situation.
Correct.
The only thing that's unusual is the loss of control from Coco's owner. And we all know who that is. So let's go back to you now. You're not off the hook just yet. Don't get too smug. What's the deal with the treats?
Well, I was thinking to take them to the courtyard, and so when I was putting them in my bag, Coco could smell them, and that's when she came running.
Do you speak dog?
No.
So how do you know that Coco was smelling them?
Well, I just assumed.
You just assumed. You know what happens when you assume, right? So how close were you to Coco to make that assumption that the dog could smell the treat?
I was in the kitchen, and she was still at the door.
Okay, so that's a little bit of distance. Even the distance where the two of you are, is it further than that from the kitchen to the front? Your distance right now?
I'd say a little bit, probably.
A little bit further.
Yeah.
Why would someone from that distance be saying, here's a treat? Because that's saying, yes, come run into my house and cause havoc. That doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So this vase gets broken.
Yes, and my laptop is damaged.
You have
and
proof of the damages?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, now I'll take a look, and we're going to have Deputy Thomas collect everybody's evidence. Everybody's evidence. All right, let's take a look here and see what we got. This is the cost for the water damage to the computer, because where was the laptop in relation to all this?
It was sitting on the coffee table, and a glass of water was knocked over with the vase, and it spilled on the laptop.
And then we also have the cost of the vase itself. And this is the little Shih Tzu.
Yes, there she is.
There she is.
That's my baby.
Okay. Well, you've seen her before. Why are you so excited?
I love her so much.
I can tell. Now let's take a look at Coco. Now see, Coco's more my kind of dog here. I love this
She's
this
a
breed.
giant baby.
Yes.
Yeah, do you see
very
how big
nice.
she is?
Beautiful picture.
So
She's huge.
Great eye. She is. But she's a Husky Shepherd. She's not a Shih Tzu. The damage is that Coco, she had to get stitches on her hind leg, antibiotics.
Yes.
We couldn't resolve this, huh?
I tried to out of court.
No, you didn't, because I asked you.
Yes, I did.
No, I literally asked you if you'll pay for the damages, and you refused. And it's not my fault.
All I wanted was a friend. I thought, you know, if we came to court and we had to do all of this, I would lose you as a friend and a neighbor.
Well, you just had to pay me back.
You got a little fight in you.
It's because I've been hearing this from you the whole time. I lost my friend, my dog's not feeling well, and I'm at my wit's end with this.
Okay, let's put you out of your misery. Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel in terms of the plaintiff's claim for $561, judgment will be in favor of the plaintiff for that amount. She has met her burden because what started this chain of events is Coco. Coco can't pay the damage, so Coco's owner must, because that's what comes with if you had a child and the child saw a cookie, and they ran in and the vase got broken and the laptop got destroyed, and you're like, but you put a cookie in front of my son. The kid is a kid. So the kid would have to be responsible. The kids can't be sued, so you got to sue the parent. You're the mommy here, and mommy has to pay the bill. As it relates to the counterclaim, I got to go through the chain of events. Coco wouldn't have been injured because there would have been no glass on the ground had the vase not been broken. So your counterclaim, you can't meet your burden. So judgment in favor of the plaintiff, the defendant's case is dismissed. That is the order. Case closed.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $561.
This literally could have all been resolved if you just.
You would just shut up. I never want to see you ever again, okay? Just stop.
Okay.
Coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
James invites Mr. Tate to a party in New York.
Yes, and that's how it begins.
Do you know who James is?
No, and I don't know why he's saying that my husband's single.
Closed captioning provided by